Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Average Movie Review podcast. Today, I'm going to talk about an old film I recently watched for the first time, and people are probably going to hate me for not watching this earlier. And they're going to be like, "Are you even a movie goer? Like, do you even watch movies? Like, what the hell is wrong with you?" Let's talk about I think, one of the best films in the 19 I think it came out in 1990, could have been 1980 as well. Let me just double check for you real quick before I reveal the name. Probably should have done that before I started the episode, but hey, we live and we learn. That's just life. What are you going to do about it? Oh yeah, 1990, so 95, and I'm talking about the movie Heat with Al Pacino and Val Kilmer and Robert De Niro. What I think is an amazing, amazing film. Um, Probably some of De Niro and Pacino's best work. Val Kilmer, though having a very small role in the film, has a very impactful role at the same time. Given the fact that he was still new to the industry at the time and he was up against some of the greatest of the greats. And we're talking about here, Al Pacino and De Niro, who have cemented themselves in the industry by now, by that point in their career, you know, still standing out amongst those two is absolutely incredible when you think about it. So kudos to him and may God rest his soul. Like, great actor, great man. But talking about that film, I realized while watching that film and the one scene specifically between Pacino and De Niro in the restaurant when they're sitting there in the diner and they're talking to each other, I realized that I just don't think there are actors right now in this current given moment that could recreate a scene like that. The scene is nothing special. It's just two people talking to each other, a thief and a cop, talking about how maybe in a past life, or if decisions were made differently, that they could be friends, which they probably could have been, had they had gone a different way or taken a different path. But the fact that those two just sit there and have a general conversation is absolutely amazing. Uh so kudos to them for that, for doing something like that. Like, you look back at it and you watch that scene and you see it all over social media a lot of times. People always reference that scene and they're just like, this is like cinema at its peak, this is acting at its peak. And I understand it. Like, when you watch it for the first time, you feel the tension between these two actors who are playing these two characters. You can see that there's there's also like a hint of like we could have been friends, or like, there was a little bit of hope that maybe if you change your ways or if you don't do this, we could figure something out in that sense, right? And you feel it as an audience member, right? There's a lot of emotional impact in that scene, and they do such a good job. Pacino does such a great job, and De Niro as well. Like, you're sitting there and you're watching both of these actors, and it's like a mastercraft show, really. Like, you're just like, holy crap! Like, this is absolutely amazing to watch. And when you look at it now, like, there is no actor or actors that can maybe do a scene like that. I just haven't seen something like that in modern day films. Um, I watched that film and I believe I saw the director's cut version where I think it's like a couple of minutes longer than usual. And I think what works with that film, and again, this is what makes the recent film Sinners that just came out last week work as well, is the fact that they you don't just go in and you get like a snippet of these characters' lives. You get to see um, everything, and you understand their motivations, where they're coming from, especially the main characters, who they are. Like, we don't just get a peek; we get to live their life with them, and that's why you grow an emotional attachment to these characters, which again, very very tough to do in a lot of films, given the short run times of certain films. But in this particular film, they do such a good job, and that's why when that epic bank scene happens, or that scene between De Niro and Al Pacino in the diner happens, there's so much more impact to the story. It's not just something we just watch, it's something that we live, and through them, and that's why we're so emotionally invested. The bank scene, the bank scene will always be remembered by Val Kilmer's, you know crazy way of shooting people and everything, and the fact that he made it look so professional. Apparently, the Marine Corps, or one of the corps or the armies, use that as a reference video to teach people how to reload their guns, and they show how well he was effective in a moment of crisis and how well he reloaded and everything. So again, it set a standard, right, for gunfights. Now, when you look at the fight itself, it's a little wonky here and there. Like I obviously, now we've seen, like, gunfights, like, what do you call it, John Wick and all of those other ones, but it's still really, really good given that this was shot in 1995 in the 90s. Absolutely banger of a film. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But it really did make me think about the fact that I don't think we have actors like De Niro, Pacino, and even Denzel Washington, actors like that right now that can do movies like this. And the reason why I bring up Denzel is, like, I'm thinking, like, the only other actor that has been able to demand that much on-screen presence or grasp an audience has been Denzel Washington. Right after Heat, I believe, Training Day was released, and Training Day, his King Kong speech, till this day, is still one of the best speeches in cinematic history. Till this day is one of the best scenes in cinematic history. And Denzel did that by himself. He didn't even need someone. You know what I mean? He didn't need someone to bounce off of. He just did it. So kudos to, the filmmakers back in the day, and to the companies. Again, giving your director that control, giving your director that freedom to do what they want is a huge thing, right? Some directors deserve it, some don't. Some stories deserve it, some don't. Some stories need oversight. I understand that. But when you give a director that free range, and you give them a good budget, and they're able to bring in actors like this, that's why you get movies like this. Warner Brothers gave Ryan Coogler, I guess, the freedom to do what he needed to do, and they have a huge hit on their hands. Sinners will be cemented as one of the best films of this year, and probably in the next decade. People will look back at it and they'll be like, yo, this was a really good film. And again, it's a very simple film, in the sense of, if you're not looking at it too deeply, like, obviously there's a lot of deep meaning behind it and everything, but if you're just going there for a good film, this is a good film, right? And you look at Heat, again, a very simple film. It's just about a bunch of robbers who are just trying to rob a bank, and a cop who has to stop them. Nothing too crazy about the story, nothing too crazy about the premise, but it just fucking works. It just works. It's smooth. There's no issues. Yeah, there's some flaws, and I was definitely convinced that Al Pacino does not know how to drive. I'm, like, almost 100% sure that man does not know how to drive a car, at that time, and even till now, probably. But again, these guys did a wonderful job with what they had back in the day. And they had actors like Val Kilmer, who, again, new to the industry, still stand out in such a way where he will always be remembered a part of that film, right? He has very small part in that film, but again, amazing job, right? And De Niro and Al Pacino, these guys were vets at that point. They were pretty much Hollywood, and they delivered 100%. But yeah, so that's how I felt about Heat. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment. Let me know how you feel, what you guys think. Could it be better? Could it be worse? Whatever it is. And yeah, and I'll catch you on the next review. Peace.